Here in this video we will explore the movie and show adaptation of Starship Troopers again, but now we will dive into the many ships or types of ships and classes of ships and spacecrafts of the Federation fleet, from dropships to corvettes, from battleships to mobile bases. Here is the entire fleet. Let's get banging. Of course, the first one is the Rodger Young-class. This Corvette Transport class was the workhorse troop carrier of the Federation fleet during the First Bug War. It is a rugged and versatile starship built around one main purpose, and that is to deliver the mobile infantry into war zones. The ship is roughly 550 meters in length, and they act like flying military bases as well, carrying platoons of soldiers, dropships, vehicle supplies, and sometimes even TAC Fighters into combat zones. Despite being designed primarily for transport, the Rodger Young ships were far from being simple cargo carriers. They are also armed with multiple turret batteries and energy weapons. They could provide orbital fire support for troops on the ground. They could rain bombardments into Arachnid positions before an assault is launched. In fight against the bug transports, they could use their broadside guns and defensive batteries to fight and protect the soldiers they carried. This combination of transport capacity, orbital support, and ship-to-ship combat made the class one of the most important vessels in the Federation fleet. Though eventually replaced, the Rodger Young would always be the most iconic of the Starship Troopers ships. Now the next here is the Alesia Fast Attack Ship class. The FAS, or Fast Attack Ship, was one of the most agile and one of the most aggressive warships fielded by the United Citizen Federation fleet during the Second Bug War. These were designed to strike hard, move fast, and exploit weaknesses in the enemy bug transport ship formations. At only around 200 meters in length, it was significantly smaller than the massive Corvette transports, or also the Athena-class carriers and other capital ships that formed the backbone of the fleet. But what it lacked in size, it made up for in speed and firepower. Its sleek hull was powered by three powerful engine nacelles that gave the ship exceptional acceleration and maneuverability. The vessel also carried a small complement of mobile infantry personnel, including a power-armored squad, allowing it to rapidly deploy troops through its docking tubes and airlocks during boarding operations or emergency extractions or even quick planetary insertions. The third ship here is the Athena-class. These represented the next step in the evolution of the Federation military starships, a larger and more capable vessel designed to move enormous numbers of troops and equipment into major combat operations. First appearing during the Second Battle of Glendatu, these massive transports dwarfed the older Rodger Young type corvettes, being around twice as long, and served as the backbone of large-scale mobile infantry deployments in the Second Bug War. With three huge hangar bays and dozens of launch positions for DR-4 Viking Dropships, an Athena-class could unleash entire battalions of soldiers in a matter of minutes. Although primarily designed as a heavy transport, the Athena carried powerful energy weapons and was a frontline combat ship as well, and was used in planetary bombardment. The York, in particular, showcased the full capabilities of the upgraded design when it transported the Marauder project to OM-1, deploying the elite mobile infantry forces onto the planet's surface, recovering the survivors, and then launched a devastating Q-bomb strike that completely annihilated the planet and its godbug, the Behemoth Warden. Now number 4, the Athena-class, but a refit model. During the Second Bug War, many ships of the Athena-class underwent extensive upgrades, receiving expanded dorsal and ventral structures that increased their carrying capacity. An example of this was the Shuttle. So while standard Athena-class ships were already massive heavy transports, the Shuttle's extensive refit transformed it into an even more massive vessel. Huge superstructures were added above and below the main hull, which gave it an imposing vertical profile as well that made it nearly as tall as it was long. The result was more like a flying fortress, a mobile headquarters capable of commanding major military operations deep inside bug-controlled space. However, the Shuttle's primary role was no longer simply delivering troops, but instead, it functioned more as a strategic command vessel, a carrier, assault transport, and also, most importantly, an orbital fire support platform. Number 5, the L6 satellite base. So this started with an L, which means lunar, and was one of the most important defensive installations of the solar system, which served as a massive orbital fortress and an early warding station responsible for protecting Earth itself. This space station was positioned in lunar orbit and functioned as the first line of defense against any threat entering humanity's home system. Unlike ordinary military outposts, the L6 was effectively a space-borne military headquarters, housing a large number of fleet personnel, defensive weapon systems, fighter crafts, and the elite Marauder forces commanded by Johnny Rico. The station's strategic importance became clear during the events of Starship Troopers invasion, when sensors detected a hijacked John A. Warden ship emerging from a wormhole and then heading directly towards Earth. A fierce battle erupted around the station as Federation ships launched and exchanged fire with the corrupted vessel, all the while suffering losses while attempting to stop it from reaching the planet. At the last moment, the John A. Warden altered course, narrowly avoiding a direct collision with the L6 as it plunged towards Earth carrying an Arachnid infestation. But even after the ship impacted on Earth, the L6 continued to fight the invasion, launching nuclear missiles and bombardment from orbit to destroy the infected vessel and to prevent a planetary catastrophe. The sixth class of ship is the Recon Cruiser, so this was one of the Federation's most important non-combat starships during the peaceful decades before the First Bug War. It represents a time when exploration, scientific study, and diplomacy were considered one of the key motives for human expansion in space. Unlike the heavily armed Corvette transports or the fast attack ships and the other capital vessels that would later dominate the fleet, the Recon Cruiser was designed primarily for long-range reconnaissance and survey missions. Its purpose was to venture into unexplored regions of space, to investigate newly discovered worlds, to deploy scientific probes and gather intelligence on potential threats before larger military forces became involved. Instead of firepower, this ship relied on sophisticated sensors, communication systems, and survey equipment, as well as small auxiliary craft that allowed it to operate independently far from Federation space for extended periods of time. And if it was under attack from any other vessel of aliens or let's say the bug transports, it would be close to defenseless. Number 7. The John A. Warden class. So this type of Corvette transport is an evolution of the Rodger Young Corvette. At nearly 800 meters in length, it was substantially larger than its predecessor, the Rodger Young, and was capable of transporting soldiers, vehicles, supplies, and landing craft across vast interstellar distances. The design placed a far greater emphasis on direct combat, allowing the ship to operate not merely as a transport but as also a frontline combatant. From a distance, the ship or the ship class retained the familiar design of earlier Federation transports, but its hull, its superstructure, and heavily armed bow gave it a far more impressive look. Also, this ship was built to endure the harshest of punishments and in one instance even survived crash landing on Earth. In many ways, the John A. Warden class was the Federation's answer to a changing war. The Rodger Young had primarily been a transport, the Athena evolved into a heavy assault carrier and a command ship, but the John A. Warden blurred the line between transport and battleship. So by the later stages of the Second Bug War, they had effectively replaced the aging Rodger Young as the backbone of humanity's interstellar war effort. Now number 8, the largest probably, the fleet base. So the Sanctuary Federal Fleet Headquarters was the nerve center of the United Citizen Federation Fleet during the Second Bug War. It served as the primary strategic command base from which humanity directed its war against the Arachnids. Rather than being a single station, Sanctuary appears to have been a vast network of orbital installations, shipyards, docking facilities, logistic depot, and command centers located around the world known as Sanctuary. However, one of the most impressive stations there was one that appeared to be a couple of kilometers in height. Yeah, height, not length, as it was designed to be more vertical in shape, as it would allow several starships to dock with it at any one point of time. The base functioned as the Federation fleet's equivalent of a wartime capital, coordinating military operations across vast multiple star systems far away from Earth, while also supporting countless warships, troop transports, and mobile infantry formations. In many ways, Sanctuary, or this fleet base here, occupied a role similar to a combination of a naval headquarters, a fortress, and also a military industrial hub. Now number 9, let's get to the smaller ships or spacecrafts here of the Federation fleet. We begin here with the DR-4 Viking. This was the standard assault dropship of the Federation fleet during the First Bug War. It served as the primary means of transporting mobile infantry forces from orbit into the battlefield. This was a large, rugged craft equipped with multiple VTOL engines, with maneuvering thrusters and redundant flight systems that ensured that it could continue operating even under severe damage. It is capable of carrying over 40 fully equipped troopers at once. The DR-4 was also heavily armed, mounting several dual-barrel cannon turrets for suppressing enemy positions and to protect landing zones, while a mortar system could fire flares or indirect support rounds to aid the troops on the ground. So the Viking here was seen as an iconic symbol of the Federation military operations in Glendathu and in the Arachnid War. Another one is the DR-8 Skyhook, which is a small, fast landing boat used by the Federation fleet during the First Bug War as a flexible shuttle and an emergency extraction craft for the Mobile Infantry. Unlike larger dropships such as the DR-4 Viking, the Skyhook was designed for a quick insertion and an even faster retrieval, acting as the fleet's primary rescue platform in hostile environments where ground forces needed immediate evacuation. Its compact size made it highly maneuverable in the air and in space, which allows it to slip into contested landing zones to pick up surviving troopers and then withdraw before the enemy could fully react. Now next, the 11th one here, the spacecraft, also a fighter, is the TAC, or the Tactical Airspace Control Fighter, which was the Federation fleet's primary starfighter and bomber, widely deployed during the First Bug War and even the Second Bug War. Although officially classified as a multi-role fighter, in practice it was used almost exclusively as a planetary attack bomber, delivering devastating strikes against Arachnid positions before the Mobile Infantry could land. Each craft was equipped with forward-facing cannons for limited air-to-air combat, along with heavier payload for incendiary bombs, missiles and even toxic chemicals and nukes. While they were technically capable of air superiority missions, their lack of a true opposing starfighter force, since the Arachnids possessed no comparable aerial units, meant that they were rarely used in that capacity. Then there's also the shuttle, which serves as a ship-to-ship transporter of personnel. They are mostly used for short-range personal transfers between stations, ships and orbital installations, typically carrying only a handful of passengers, often around 4 of them, between locations like the Ticonderoga Base and larger capital ships. These compact craft were essential for command movement, for VIP transport and rapid internal fleet logistics, and in some cases they could be adapted for larger dropship designs for high-ranking officers or for covert special missions. Number 13, the Nemesis Base. So this was a Federation orbital training station positioned above Mars, serving as one of the primary facilities for preparing Martian recruits for service in the Mobile Infantry, and this was during the later stages of the Second Bug War. Following the disastrous events surrounding the Arachnid Queen's arrival on Earth, Johnny Rico was demoted from General back to Colonel and was reassigned to Nemesis, where he was tasked with training new recruits rather than commanding frontline operations. The Nemesis appeared to be a relatively secure area or an installation far removed from the front lines of war, and was intended to be a safe haven for training future soldiers. And of course we can't forget Fleet Station or Battlestation Ticonderoga 51, which was one of the largest and most important military installations operated by the Federation fleet during the First Bug War. It functioned as a colossal mobile starbase, a logistics hub, a repair facility, and a command center, all rolled into a single structure. Unlike ordinary orbital stations, Ticonderoga was effectively a small city in space, around 4 kilometers wide when measured by its disk and around 5 to 6 kilometers tall. With this enormous superstructure of it, housing everything required to sustain thousands of fleet personnel and mobile infantry troops. Surrounding the station were extensive docking facilities capable of accommodating vast numbers of starships simultaneously, with docking clamps lining its outer perimeter and specialized berths on its upper sections, which are reserved for damaged vessels requiring emergency repairs. During the Battle of Glendathu, Ticonderoga served as the primary staging area for the Federation's largest military operation, acting as the command base from which waves of corvette transports and supporting warships departed for the invasion of the Arachnid homeworld of Glendathu. And lastly we have the auxiliary ships. See, during the Battle of Glendathu, the Federation fleet deployed a wide range of auxiliary ships, which are these specialized vessels that kept the larger warships operating during large-scale involvements. These auxiliaries were not the frontline combatants like the corvette transports or the fast attack ships, but instead fulfilled essential battlefield support roles like maintenance and repair tenders or fire support platforms and transport coordination ships, and even command and communications hubs that helped coordinate the massive orbital assault. So in short, there were probably way more classes of ships that the Federation had, but these were never described, and there was never any information about them aside from appearing in short glimpses in the movie. And so those are the 15 types of ships and spacecrafts from the movie adaptations and shows adaptations of Starship Troopers. And so with that, we end this video. Now do hit the like button for support and also click that bell button for regular updates on new video uploads here in this channel. Also subscribe to be a part of Legion Notebook, and till the next time, take care, boys.